Today, we'll be building a paint booth. Not So Average Builder is brought to you by these great retailers. There'll be promo codes in the description below. Hey guys, Tom here, and this is Not So Average Builder. And like you heard, we're going to be building and reviewing the Arttystation Opera Module Airbrush Station. This is the version 2, so it is the updated one. The old one used a 4-inch outlet. This one uses a 6-inch outlet. Before I get started on this, I want to cover this. When you buy this from Arttystation or USA Gundam store, you are buying the airbrush station itself. It does not come with toggle switches. It does not come with the fan or the hoses to connect it. That is something that you have to buy yourself. Don't fear, I've got that figured out. What I'll do is I will assemble this. I will try and run as best as I can a quick setup to kind of test it out, and we will go from there. But I'm going to move this off the bench, and I will show you the extra things that you need to buy, because I'm sure that you want to know. So you need, first and foremost, the airbrush station. Secondly, you will need a fan. Arttystation recommends at least a 400 CFM fan. Now I know what you're thinking. This fan does not look like a squirrel cage fan. It is not. I could not find one in the US that was a 6-inch for under $150. This is incredibly hard to find. So in order to do a 6-inch, I had to do an inline motor fan. I know, it freaks people out. It kind of had me worried as well. But if you are strictly airbrushing and using rattle cans occasionally, not as your normal way to paint, you will be fine. I cannot guarantee that, so don't take that as a guarantee, but I'm 95% sure you will be absolutely fine. I will find out, because this is going to be the fan I'm using. The motor is there. It is a magnetic start. So when you plug it in, it sends a magnet and spins it. So it is not exactly a full-on motor fan. This is used in the hemp growing industry, from what I was reading, and it kind of allows people to pull hot air and gases out of a room quickly. So that's why I decided to go with this. So not only will you need that, you will need this. This is a 6-inch diameter dryer vent hose. I chose to go with the black one because I don't want this shiny metal showing up off screen if I ever show a workstation. This does come with 2 hose clamps. However, you will need to pick up 2 more. I'll show you why. I did same brand as this, is a Vivo Sun 6-inch clamps that will go on the other side. So the way this works is you will have your hose coming out of the back of the airbrush station. It goes into the front of this, so there's 2 clamps, and on the back you will connect it to your outlet. Now I have chosen, and I will end up putting a piece of wood in my window to connect this to the back of it. But this is a 6-inch dryer vent outlet that goes on the side of your house. This thing required 6-inch. This was the cheapest that I found on Amazon. All of this stuff I found on Amazon. Now, depending on how well this goes, Arttystation may put this for US buyers on their website, and I'm sure that possibly USA Gundam store might as well. I'm not sure, but I do know for a fact that that was something that Arttystation and I discussed. It may be a potential US sale site, essentially, for these extra products through Amazon. It'll give you links or ways to buy it. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but yes. So these are the extra things you will need. Let's break this thing out, see what we got. So of course your instruction manual. If you saw my last video, you know. What you get in the box. Are your decorative pieces. Your base, the start of the back side, some other side pieces. Your rings, this is where your hose clamp is going to connect. I think it goes, yeah, it goes like this. So that way you've got a gradual opening. Some dowels and extra bits in here. There's your dowels. I think these are your magnets. Could be wrong. Yes, these are your magnets. You've got these pieces. I have not looked at the instructions yet, so I don't know what those pieces do. But we will find out together. So this is your airbrush holder. Another random piece. And then here, we've got some other pieces. I do need to get the hammer, though. I'm not going to glue this in just because I need to be able to move stuff out if needed. So I'll leave that the way it is. Alright, so now that we've got this all assembled, the switches are in, they're not wired up. I just put them in there so the holes are filled. Let's go over what we got. If you were to buy this, once again, just out of the box, you will not get the switches, you will not get the clear cover, and you do have to order the filter material on its own. Once you get it together, again, you don't need any glue. The only thing you need glue for, and I use super glue in this case, was the magnets. Everything else, I mean, I'm not, the one drawback to this, I think the clear cover is kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily pointless, but even with the magnets in, it's too much of a gap without the filter material in there. With the filter material, it adds a lot more of space to it. So, I don't know. I kind of wish they would have done the side like they did the first iteration. But, I mean, it still helps keep dust out, whatnot. So it's going to serve its purpose. It's not like you're running this thing all the time with the cover on. Now, they do slide off. I'll pull these off real quick. These slots on the side of the airbrush station. Fit those in there really well. I will have to say that I would say that the filter material needs to be trimmed down, but I'm not going to worry about it at this point in time. So when you've got the airbrush station open, you do have a wider surface to worry about or to work with, and I don't think that with as much as this fan that they recommend, at least 400 CFM pushes, I'm pretty sure that it will give you zero issues with getting stuff out there. Again, when you get this, you get the airbrush station, you have to purchase the filter material separate, the switches separate, and the acrylic cover separate. The only thing you need for these is going to be the filter material. If you don't want to go through Artty-Station, you could probably get some pond filter material. It seems to be the same thing. And use that. Just cut it to length. Probably get a little bit cheaper. The acrylic cover, I don't see a point in it. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I'll probably end up just leaving it open. The switches, again, because they are a wire switch, something you have to wire in, you are going to have to cut the cord on whatever you're plugging it into to connect the 2 points, so that way it shuts off and on. So if you don't want to do that, don't get the switches. Again, entirely up to you. But I wanted to get, well, I didn't really know that I was getting the switches. Otherwise, I would have probably taken a little more time and tried to wire this up. But I just put them in there for aesthetic reasons. It just kind of looks better than 3 holes. Arttystation.com, USAG-Gundam use promo code NOTSOAVERAGE. You get 10% off your Arttystation pre-order, including this. So here's the setup as is. I'm not using a microphone, and I'd say at the airbrush station itself, I don't know, it's a tolerable noise. I've got the hose running out the back. This is not the permanent setup. This is just temporary to get it to test. I've got the fan plugged in and running, and please excuse my absolute mess. This is why I needed Artty-Station's help, but it is blowing really well. I'll load the airbrush up with Gory Red. So it's pulling one side. But you see there's no paint. But as you can tell, I'm pointing this way. So I was asked to do a size comparison. This is the standard run-of-the-mill, I think it was $80 foldable spray booth that you can get on Amazon. I think Hobbytown USA sells them, and they're decent. Don't get me wrong; it is done well. As you can tell, I need to change the filter badly. As you can tell, in there is essentially a computer fan. All right. So Amazon sells the crap out of these. They're everywhere. You can get them on the cheap. And people are worried about fans having spark issues. So if that's the case, then that should have caught on fire. A lot of the times, these fans run off of a brushless setup. So there's no wire, or there's no brushes to make contact and sparks. So even with these double filters, essentially what should have happened was, because it is a computer fan and the motor is right in the center of the airflow, should have potentially caught on fire. It did not, because it is a brushless motor. So the motor that I got, or the fan that I got, with the motor position that it has, should be just fine. Plus also, it's not going to be 6 inches. I wouldn't even say that. I would say technically from the moment it hits the filter, it's a couple of millimeters away, maybe 30 millimeters away from the fan and that motor. So spraying as heavy as I've done in the past, that should have essentially caught that motor on fire. It did not. So that makes me feel a lot safer using the type of inline fan that I have, especially moving it as far away from the spray booth itself as I'm going to do. We'll use this as a new size example. So this is your emission models. Why does nobody put the size of the bottle? 4 ounce, 120 mil. It's the 120 mil bottle size in this opening. It is a very big opening. It does really well, but the width is the problem. So when you have this thing open, you are essentially taking up majority of the length of your, or width of your workspace. It sucks. I only had one spot to put it, and it was not a good spot, and it just kind of got in the way. So I will do some side-by-side shots, front and side, to show you guys the size comparison. And for around the same amount of money as this, you could pick up all of the things that I got. Even if you don't have the Opera, you don't need that. That can be a standalone booth just fine. But if you got the airbrush module, filter material, a fan, that'd be about where it's at. And then if the tubing and the couplers, if I were to have bought this, I'd have been about $120 for all the setup, because the fan was $50. The airbrush station is $30 or $40. The couplers were $2 or $3. The hose was $10. And the outlet to go outside was another $10. So yeah, I'm like right at 100, maybe a little over. You get these all day online on Amazon for $80-$90. So yes, you can fold this up and put it out of the way, and if that is what you're going for, then totally go for it. But if you want something more permanent, I'll show you. This. Stay tuned for another video on yet another thing for the Artty-Station revamp. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.